Hi there, Janice Fitness and Sports Instructor at CFB Kingston. Today's mobility workout that I have for you is actually a pre-workout glute activation series. So we've got 7 exercises that are going to help get those glutes firing properly before you start going into your workout for the day. So why are we focusing on the glutes? Because proper movement of the hips stems from the glutes. Your glutes are responsible for hip extension, hip abduction, internal and external rotation of the hips. But unfortunately, in today's sitting culture, so many desk jobs, people aren't moving around as much, our glutes are becoming weak and have lost their ability to fire correctly. So this has been leads to those hip flexors at the front of the hips, and the low back tend to take over instead of the glutes doing the job that they're supposed to be doing for those essential movements at the hip, that abduction, internal external rotation, and extension. And what does that mean if the hamstrings and low back start to take over? Well, they weren't designed to be the prime movers for those movements. So they start to build up some injuries, and so we end up with hamstring injuries, low back pain, knee pain, and it's something that we just want to eliminate. So when we are targeting the muscles that make up the glute region, we want to mobilize them and strengthen them. So these exercises today are going to help to wake those up and strengthen them at the same time. So as I said, we've got 7 exercises. The goal is to aim for 3 to 4 times a week to do these exercises on their own, or better yet, add them to the beginning of any of your workouts. So whether you're strength training, whether you're running, you can get these in right before, just to get those muscles firing properly so that they act as the prime mover instead of the muscles that aren't supposed to be moving. So getting into our exercises, you are going to need a mini band because we are going to work against this bit of resistance in order to get those glutes firing. So these bands come in different resistances. So if you are first starting out, you might want a light resistance and then gradually progress from there. This one that I have is a medium. They come in different colors, different brands have different colors for their resistances, but there's usually a light, medium, and heavy resistance. So start with whichever band you feel comfortable using and go from there. So we're going to, sitting down, we're always sitting down, safety first with these bands. When you're putting them on your legs, make sure that you have a seat on a chair, on the floor, on a couch, whatever, in order to put them on instead of stepping into them so that you're not tripping yourself up. So we're going to bring it around the legs and just above the knees. So the first exercise we're going to do is a glute bridge. So one that you've probably seen before. We are using the band in order to add a little resistance so that our knees aren't collapsing in, and we're making those glutes, especially those ones along the outside of the hip, fire so that they keep those hips open. So we're going to start down on the back, heels in close to the body. We're going to tuck the pelvis up towards the chin, so that front part of the pelvis is just going to tuck up so that you're pushing that low back into the floor. And we're going to push through those heels. So you've got some resistance against that band so your knees aren't collapsing in. So your knees are staying about hip distance apart with some resistance on that band. And you're just going to tuck the pelvis, squeeze those glutes, lift, hold, and then slowly down. Lift, hold, slowly down. Do not release that pelvic tuck as you come down. So you're not coming down, tapping the butt, arching the back. So keep that tuck the whole time and just kind of tap down and then squeeze right back up. Hold and down. Always maintaining that pressure on that band that's around those knees. So you're going to do 20 repetitions just like that. Then we're going to move into the hip bridge with knee opening. So still keeping those hips, or those feet, hip distance apart. Pelvis still tucked, so back is pushing into the floor. Squeeze those glutes, pushing through the heels. Lift the hips up, and then we're going to Spread those knees, activating even more those outer glute area, and in, and then down. So it's up, open just the knees, so we're not moving those feet, bringing them back in and down. Never releasing tension on that band. Up, out, squeeze, in, and down. 20 repetitions of that one as well. Then we're going to flip over onto one side as we move into clamshells. I'm coming down onto my elbow, bringing those knees so that your lower leg is at 90 degrees to the upper. Feet are going to stay glued together. You can bring your hand to the outside part of your glutes and your hip to feel that activation. So you're going to squeeze, and as you squeeze, using those glutes to open and externally rotate that hip out to the side. Opening those knees, feet are staying glued together, and then down. So squeeze, open, hold, and down. Avoiding allowing that knee or the band to snap that knee back down. You want to control. So you're pushing against the resistance on the way up and slowly controlling as you come down. Open, hold, and down. Really squeeze, feel that glute firing, and down. 20 on the one side, and then we're going to flip over. Once again, 90 degrees. Can bring the hand to feel that glute activating. So squeeze, open, and down. It's not going to be a real large movement here. So don't think that you have to get your knee so it's coming straight up towards the ceiling. You just want to make sure that you're actually using those outer glutes to open that hip. And 20 on that side. Good. And then we're going to come to stand. So we're coming into a side stepping series here. So squatting down slightly, keeping resistance on that band once again. Making sure that your feet are about hip to shoulder distance apart. And from here, we're just going to step out and in, twice in one direction, twice in the other. Using that outer part of the glutes to bring that leg out to the side. We're doing 20 total, 10 each way. You should be able to once again feel those glutes tighten as they pull that leg out, abducting that leg. Good. Next up, we've got monster walks. So once again, still maintaining that resistance on that band. We're going to take one step forward and out, and then in and back, in and back, in and forward, in, forward, in and back, in and back. So it kind of looks like this. The whole time, still squeezing those glutes to open that leg back up. And our final exercise is just a straight up squat. So bringing your feet a little wider this time, more around shoulder distance, apart. Keeping that resistance on the band as you squat down, fighting against that band, pulling those knees in. So you're keeping it out so that your knees are tracking over those toes. Sitting those hips back and down and up, down and up. Don't let those knees collapse in, especially when you come up to the top. I don't want to see this. Squeeze those glutes. Make them work to push against that band before you squat, and then squeeze them again as you're pushing up. Good. And then to take that band off, once again, have a seat, slide it down, bring it off the feet. And those are your 7 glute activation exercises for the day. As I mentioned earlier, add those in to your pre-workout routine, your warm-up mobilization techniques before you get right into your workout or before you start running for the day. And for more workout and fitness ideas, you can check out our social media outlets on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube at PSP Kingston. Thanks for joining me today.
PSP Kingston, the health and wellness provider for the military community.